We are live, and it's going to be a hell of a week in the world of pro wrestling. We've got NXT Vengeance Day to discuss, taking place this Saturday on predictions of the show. We're on the road to WrestleMania, potentially. Randy Orton could be getting a new champion to face as well at WrestleMania 42. We're going to go through the Elimination Chamber review and all this week in WWE as well. Thank you for joining myself and NXT. We are in a hot seat, and we are here with you today. I'm discussing all the things in pro wrestling. Kick things off then with Vengeance Day taking place this Saturday. There are 5 matches on the show. We're going to talk about what we will be discussing. You okay, Nick, Steve?
Itchy eyeball.
Okay, fair enough. Just thought I'd just ask for everyone. Just to show the matches we're going to be discussing today. We've got Jada Parker versus Blake Monroe in a street fight. We've got Tony D'Angelo against Dion Lennox. We've got Izzy Dane against Tatum Paxi for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Lola Vice will be going against Kalani Jordan in an NXT Underground match. And Joe Hendry will be taking on Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. 3 women's matches there, and NXT has been pulling up a little bit in the recent weeks. Their storytelling's getting quite a lot better, especially since I think Robert Stone's actually come into the GM role. It's certainly stepped up a bit. Do you have good excitement levels for this show?
Yeah, I mean, NXT seems to be one of the most consistently booked shows in WWE recently. So yeah, I'm quietly reserved for it. I think there are some stars missing off of this show that easily could have been on it. For example, like a Miles Bourne, why they had him defending the NXT title on TV instead of even winning it on TV was just a bit of a weird one. But yeah, there's a lot of things going down on NXT, and it's, like I said, the most consistently booked show at the minute. It seems to be kind of the only thing that I really want to watch out of the 3 shows at the minute, between that Raw and SmackDown.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, I think the storytelling, I think the start of the year, I felt, okay, they lost a lot of their top stars to Raw and SmackDown. I thought, here we go again. It's rebuild time for NXT. And it's still going through that process, I think, at the moment. But they do have some interesting storylines. And like you said, we do have some big hitters not on the show. JC James, Sol Ruka, Zarya. We'll get a decision what's going on with that championship actually on this show as well. Perhaps something we should talk about later in the stream. And also, like you mentioned there, Miles Bourne was not on the show. We've not got Ethan Page on the show. There were some heavy hitters that are missing, but still, I think a solid 7 for me from this one. Quite looking forward to it. And the match you're most looking forward to of the lineup?
I mean, Ricky Saints versus Joe Hendry should be intriguing, but I wouldn't. Obviously, I think D'Angelo in the street fight should be quite interesting as well, because I don't think we've actually had Tony D'Angelo have a match on TV since he's come back as this new iteration of himself. So I'd be interested to see what that is. And yeah, I mean, look, I won't lie, the Underground match is the only thing I'm not really looking forward to, just because I just don't like the match type. I don't like it. So don't get me wrong, they could obviously have a really good match, but I'm just not looking forward to it at all.
Totally fine for me. It is all about the street fight for me. I'm most excited for that one. Jada Parker's got history in that match stipulation, and so does Blake Monroe when she was Mariah May. So let's dive straight into it. You can feel free, those watching live, to throw in your predictions in the comments. We will give them a shout out. These predictions will probably be a bit quicker than usual, just because we want to talk about the Chamber in WWE as well. So we'll dive into it. Then Jada Parker, Blake Monroe. There have been altercations between these two for a number of weeks now, back and forth on the microphone as well. And this past week, they couldn't be separated again. A match was set for Vengeance Day, and later in the evening, Blake Monroe, who I think is starting to really come into her own as the character in NXT as well. I think it's taken a bit of time for her to get her sort of feet under the table, but declaring that this will be a street fight, which of course, like I said, she's got great history of that with AEW showing a violent side, but we know Jada Parker's had some brutal street fights in WWE. I think one with Lola Vice was in the NXT arena about 18 months ago, which got a lot of people talking. How do you see this one playing out?
I mean, look, Blake Monroe is obviously the biggest star out of the two of them, even though she hasn't been around as long enough. But Jada Parker, I think, honestly needs a win, because it almost feels like she's been hindered every time that she gets a slight bit of momentum behind her. They just seem to put the brakes on and just kill everything. So it's hard to really say. I mean, Blake Monroe obviously still hasn't got over those in that NXT title really to Thea Hale, and we're kind of waiting to see where she goes. I mean, I can't see either of these being called up after WrestleMania anyway, so I think these two are going to be around for the next year. I think more than anything, this is probably going to establish these two as probably players for the main event scene in that NXT Women's Championship, which is weird. Jada Parker should have been there ages ago. I think if I had to pick someone, I think Blake Monroe wins this, because I think if you've got Jada Parker as that babyface chasing the title down the line, I think that's a lot more intriguing.
It's interesting. Is that the only thing for me that makes a decision for how I think this match is going to go? Something tells me Blake will be the surprise factor that can win this match. Like we said, she's got history with it, but for the NXT audience, they've not really seen that side of her yet. But at the same time, JC Jane's the champion. Obviously, you're probably looking at something with Sol Ruka and Zarya that could fix for the championship. But if you're going to not go down that avenue, it's just Sol versus Zarya, then I think you need a babyface going for the strap. So I'm going to go for Jada Parker to pick up the win here. Like you said, she should have the rocket have put up her a long time ago. She's certainly over with the NXT audience. She's had title opportunities and not won the big one. But I think Stand and Deliver could be her place because she's great on the mic. She's good in ring. I still prefer that she had a different finisher, but that's just me nitpicking. But yeah, I'm going to go on the opposite. I'm going to go for Jada Parker.
Yeah, I mean, look, you don't think you can lose either way, whoever wins this one. I just hope Jada Parker obviously gets a chance to sort of actually move up the card on this time around. Like you said, she's had so many opportunities before to face for a title, but either doesn't get the win and then just disappears off TV for weeks on end. And yeah, I'm just hoping that whatever happens, she just is on TV more prominently going forward.
Certainly, indeed. We'll move on to what could be another contenders match, though, for the NXT Women's Championship moving forward after this. Lola Vice versus Kalani Jordan, NXT Underground match. And he said it's not your kind of match stipulation, which is fair enough. It's not for everybody. I'll be honest, I didn't like the Underground stipulation when it was backstage. I think NXT has brought a different dynamic to it, and I think it has become, dare I say, at least more interesting when it's in front of a crowd in arena. And I do think Lola Vice has had history. She's 3-0 in these matches. But she is sporting an injured hand in this one. Kalani Jordan's actually injured that hand. Doctors have warned Lola Vice that she can do a lot of damage to it. Could be out for up to 6 months. Should she injure it further here in this match? I think it's kayfabe talking, by the way. Kalani Jordan, no experience when it comes to the Underground match, has been sparring with Shayna Baszler this past week on NXT. Baszler telling her high-flying ability won't make her win this match, but Kalani Jordan's still finding a way to get through in the training to make it sort of work. And yeah, it's going to be interesting dynamic. Both have got chemistry in ring. They've had some matches up to this point, which have been quite fun. But I mean, Lola Vice, again, I'm going for the babyface route just because of the fact that I feel that the hand thing should stop her from winning this. And do you know what? I'm very torn. You can tell I'm torn because I'm changing my prediction as we go along. And as I'm doing that, Nick, Steve, I'm just going to pass it over to you while I make my mind up.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm going to go with the heel on this one, and I'm going to turn around and say that Kalani Jordan wins this. Lola Vice is another one that's been there for so long and has not really done anything. Like you said, she does these Underground matches, and she appears on AAA more than anything else, and it's kind of like we're waiting for her to do something. Kalani Jordan's been in the upper echelon. Do you know what I mean? She's won an NXT championship. She's won a North American championship. Either one, I can't remember, but I know she's won one of them. I believe it's both. But she's even won a TNA World Championship, Knockouts Championship. So I don't know. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'm going to stick with Kalani on this one. I think there's just more promise with Kalani going forward if she wins this.
Do you know what? You've swayed me because whilst I was going to go for the underdog story, because although Lola's a favourite, she's got the injured hand here, but that really just sets up for the finish, doesn't it? Where, Lola Vice probably won't tap out. Would she tap out twice? She could do an Underground match. I think you're right. I think Kalani's more progressed forward at the moment. Like you said, Women's North American champion, first ever. She's also then been TNA Knockouts champion as well. Yeah, I think so. They really hyped on as well that it's 3-0 to Lola Vice in these type of matches. So I think it would be more of a talking point should she lose one. So yeah, I think you're right. And we've gone with one face, so let's go over heel. Let's go with Jordan.
I think as well, like if you just look at that top cut, sort of like top of the mountain, sort of women's division in there. Like you said, you've got JC James champion at the minute. You've got Sol Ruka. You've got Zarya. Kalani Jordan, she picks up this win. You got Blake Monroe, you got Jada Parker. These are all women that should be in or around that world title scene. It's a stacked main event. The North American Championship, okay, there's not as many people in there. Like Izzy Dame's champion at the minute, which is perfect for her. But there's no one else, maybe like Kendall Gray, or do you know what I mean? There's a few others that are sort of floating around the idea of the North American championship scene, but I just feel like you've got 6 or 7 women at the top, and maybe 1 or 2 for that mid card, and it's like we kind of there's becoming a division here with the quality of the NXT women, and we need to find some more women to fill that North American championship spot.
Funny you mentioned it. Should we move on to that match next then? Izzy Dane versus
Yeah.
Tatum Paxley. Long history with these two. This is probably the deepest rivalry of the entire show. Of course, they were both part of the culling before Izzy Dane, of course, kicked Tatum Paxley out of the culling, and that's when Paxley was women's champion. Of course, dropping the strap at the time back to JC Jane. They've had 2 matches up to this point, both 1-on-1 to this point. So this is the rubber match. But of course, on the time Taylor Paxley beat Izzy Dane, which I believe was on New Year's Evil, was the same night that Izzy Dane would go on to become the NXT Women's North American Champion, answering an open challenge, defeating Thea Hale. I mean, when it comes to this, these two had a bit of a backstage segment together this past week on NXT. There seems to be no Sean Spears or Nico Vance that's going to be interfering and mucking around on this one either. Of course, Dane has also said that, Tatum is going to be shown why she's been left by Lyra Valkyria. While the fact is that she's still seeking for that love she's never going to get. Paxley's basically said that she's going to take the title away, and Dane's going to have no excuses running forward. So, I mean, how do you see this one going? I mean, Dane was looking visibly shaken, it seemed, after the in effect that Paxley felt when they were face-to-face this past week on NXT. Makes me think that Dane will retain the Women's Championship here and still remain the North American champion.
Yeah, but the problem I have is that Paxley's on that, like I said, it's the rubber match, and Paxley, you ultimately want that baby face to win the rubber match. It depends on where they want to go. I don't know. I like Izzy Dane, and I think Izzy Dane should be in the main event scene as well. And it almost feels like the North American title was below her now. So I wouldn't be against Tatum Paxley winning this, which is why I'm going to go with Tatum Paxley, just because then you've got that babyface win. It's kind of the end of their story. Then Izzy Dane can move on to that main event scene, which I think she deserves to be in.
I mean, honestly, the women's division is one of the best. It is truly one of the best. NXT are blessed with such a good women's division. But yeah, we seem to be going head to head on this one. But hey, it makes it more fun when it comes to the show this Saturday. Exactly. Tony D'Angelo versus Dion Lennox. Tony D'Angelo has said that he's got 2 missions coming back to NXT. That's taking out Dark State, of course, taking everything away from him. And obviously, he's back to win some gold as well. He has had a match coming back. He took on oh God, I forgot his name for the group, but the one that wasn't the tag team champion that usually did some weird comments in promos. He was the one that got beaten by Tony D. But Tony D also cost the tag team champions also of Dark State when they dropped the straps into the Vanity Project. So Dion Lennox is the main member of the group. So we've got the one-on match here between these guys. Is D'Angelo going to win here, or is Dion Lennox, a young gun and a really impressive young talent in NXT as well, going to pick up the win here?
Probably the hardest one to call for me, because I want Dion Lennox to win because I think he's great. I just think that it's Tony D'Angelo's story to tell, and I think he needs to get that win. And I don't know if just costing him the NXT tag team titles is that victory that is meant to be the end of their story. So, I mean, I'm going to have to go with D'Angelo just because I think he's going to go through all of Dark State. And then I think Dion Lennox will probably end up breaking off as a single star, which is where he deserves to be.
I mean, the thing is like you said, what's the future for Dion Lennox? Because he's head and shoulders, isn't he, above the rest of the group at this point. He's really excelled. He could simply keep the group around while he's in NXT, but I think he's got future NXT champion written all over him. I would like to see Dion Lennox win this match. If I had the choice of what I wanted, and with the 4-on-1 advantage with the outside interference, it would be more interesting for the story that D'Angelo doesn't just wipe through this entire group. So I hope Dion wins it, but my head is telling me that Tony D is going to pick up the win here and find a way to go for perhaps maybe the NXT championship in some format between now and Stand and Deliver. But I'm hoping that they have just the match here and they do a rerun, whether it's Roadblock or Stand and Deliver. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to agree with you. I think Tony D picks up the win here. But hey, more love for Dion Lennox wanting to win. Got a comment from Noob. Noob said, good to see you, Noob, by the way. The house says, I believe Izzy is losing the women's North American titles. That's another vote for Tatum Paxley. We're going to go for our last match then when it comes to here, the NXT Vengeance Day. And then we're going to move on to Elimination Chamber. So not far off of that. So let's talk about it. Say his name and he appears. Sadly not on this show, though. Joe Hendry will be taking on Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. Of course, Saints was the champion. He dropped the title to Obafemi. Obafemi vacated the title. Still hasn't gone to Raw or SmackDown yet. He's just kind of on both shows. But hey, it keeps it more exciting for Mondays and Fridays, I guess, for now. Saints, though, thought himself he would win that championship back. He automatically thought he should be giving it back. Instead, it was a 7-man ladder match, which Joe Hendry was a part of. And Joe Hendry won the title. And of course, since then, Ricky Saints has kind of made Joe Hendry a bit of a target. And we've seen Saints, Ethan Page, and the Vanity Project kind of a bit of a budding relationship going on, all sort of like all about championships, all sort of trying to dominate NXT. I've actually enjoyed the dynamic, and I'm not really a big fan of the Vanity Project, but I'm really enjoying Ricky Saints' work as a heel. I think that the heel turn was much needed, and we're starting to see Ricky's best work again now in NXT.
Yeah, and for me, that's why I'm going to say he wins this title. Like, I say that because, again, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, look, it will give it 6-7 weeks' time when WrestleMania's over. Who's more likely to go up to the main roster? And although they both deserve to, Joe Hendry's just a walking meme at the minute. And it's kind of like he will get over and he will sell merch, which I think is ultimately what WWE want. And it's a crying shame because Ricky Saints is such a good character and a wrestler. I think in fact, no, do you know what? I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go Joe Hendry retains it. I think worst case scenario, Saints will pick this up at Stand and Deliver, and Joe Hendry carries this on for another 6-7 weeks, however long, and then Saints picks it up, and then Joe Hendry goes off to Raw or SmackDown to sell merch for WWE. Unfortunately.
I mean, there could be a strong argument. At the moment, I like Joe Hendry where he is just because of the fact NXT needs a bit of star power. And Joe Hendry's got that for the brand at the moment. I think Joe Hendry's retaining here. I've got 2 reasons why. I think he's just won the title. Seems a bit strange for him to drop it immediately on his first sort of PLE title defense. And also, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page dynamic. There was a bit of a pep talk for Ethan Page after he dropped the North American Championship. Lost it in what felt like a good old-fashioned tuxedo match this past week on NXT, but obviously was just in the wrestling in the suits. But Ricky said something to him to sort of spark him up, like, he was going to go and win the NXT Championship, but Ethan Page, you could be, you were the greatest North American champion, and you were longest North American champion, had the most defenses, you were also NXT champion, and you just hope when he said the words NXT champion to Ethan Page, little light bulb went off. The eyes just said more than the mouth ever needed to. And I've got a funny feeling here that Joe Hendry's going to beat Ricky Saints and Ethan Page is going to look to take that spot. We could be getting Joe Hendry, Ethan Page, or we could be getting a freeway at Stand and Deliver. That could be something to look out for. But I think Joe Hendry will retain here regardless.
Yeah, I mean, look, now Obafemi's not on NXT no more. There's no reason why Ethan Page shouldn't be going for the NXT Championship, because ultimately that was the reason why he wasn't going for it. Yeah, no, look, I like the sound of it. The freeway between them three, I think, would be great. So, if it happens, it happens. I'll be well excited for it.
There'll be a lot of egos in that match, put it that way.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, that's our predictions there for NXT's Vengeance Day, taking place on Saturday. But we will dive into now going to talk about ourselves the other PLE that took place this past weekend, which was the Elimination Chamber. All in all, I thought this show was fine, I'm going to say. I'm giving you a bit of an overview before we start, and then we can dive into the matches and sort of break it down a little bit on what we've seen go forward since. The thing is with Elimination Chamber, the PLE itself, I think, I just want to say, I don't want to think it's lost its flavor completely, but I feel that I'm not seeing anything new really in the chamber matches. I thought there was one spot that I kind of enjoyed, which was Raquel Rodriguez doing the British Bulldog power slam to Kiana James through the pod. I thought that was a really fun, unique spot. But in most of both of the other matches that we saw, men's and women's, I didn't really feel anything particularly stood out to me when I was watching the Elimination Chamber matches. So for that reason, I would say I felt like I'd seen it all before, but it was not bad. We've seen WWE do their gimmick pay-per-views recently. The Royal Rumble wasn't what everyone expected. War Games was not what everyone expected. I felt this was safe, dare I say it, for what's meant to be one of WWE's most dangerous structures. And it wasn't bad per se, but I do think it was safe.
Yeah, I mean, it just falls into the category of another February pay per view that just doesn't do anything at all. Like, I wasn't overly impressed with the show. Like you said, the chamber matches, nothing special, nothing stands out, nothing makes me sit there and go, that's a chamber match to remember. I'm not being funny. Santina Morella's got a more impressive and more memorable chamber moment than any either of these two matches. And do you know what I mean? And that was like a spoof comedy like spot where he almost won it. And that's what I mean. If you can't exceed something like that, which is a comedy segment, why are you even bothering doing it? You might as well just do like a gauntlet match or something. Like, you don't. There's no excitement about it being inside this structure. Like, they're not doing anything that essentially utilizes what the chamber is, which is a giant steel cage, and they're just like, no one's. Do you know what I mean? No one's breaking the mold, and no one's doing stuff that I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've probably seen a lot of stuff before, but it's like, I'm not being funny. There's 6 guys in there, 6 girls in there. I'm sure they can think of something to like, do you know what I mean? Make it stand out, make it memorable. Like, we'll get to the end of this year, and I'll just be like, do you know what? I don't even remember Chamber. I don't even remember what happened in it, because there was just not a lot for it. It was just very underwhelming again, and it's that February pay per view again, and like I said, we got the hype of when Extreme Rules was properly booked, and this just feels like this was nothing really. They just didn't utilize the chamber at all.
Does it get to a point that rather than being this is your method to get through to WrestleMania, that actually there needs to be 6 people that are feuding that need to have a bit more of a personal rivalry, and then we whack out the chamber? Has it got to a point that we need the chamber used for that as a stipulation rather than just the course to WrestleMania, the Team Royal Rumble?
I think what they should be doing is making this pay per view like a last chance saloon. Like, if you don't get the win here, you don't go to WrestleMania. They need to put more on the line for it. Like you said, if you're going to have 6 guys fight it out for a spot to fight, like at the moment, Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, there should be more on the line. Why should the other 5 guys still get to go to WrestleMania? Like, there should be something that makes it just a bit more interesting or a bit more shock value. Because when you get, like, for instance, I'll use it as a stereotype reference. When you get a Jey Uso winning the Rumble, it has a shock value. And it's like, if you do this match, and if you turn around and say to 5 of them, okay, well, whoever doesn't win this match, you're not going to WrestleMania. You're not going to be on the card. Do you know what I mean? It just makes it a bit more, and it gives it that much more. I think it makes every near fall more exciting, because people are kicking out of finishers just that little bit more. Oh my God, I can't believe they've survived that. They just need to do something with it, and it just feels like they've just fallen asleep on Chamber. It's just a case of, oh, don't worry, like you sit there and you go, okay, well, January's Rumble, April, May is Mania, August is SummerSlam, November is Survivor Series. Oh, but don't forget to put Chamber in there in February, because it just has its place on the card now. That's all it is, and it's nothing, man.
Fair, although I can't imagine a chamber match where Cody Rhodes loses and then is not on WrestleMania. The ticket sounds bad enough for WWE. I personally don't think that's the avenue they should go down.
You know what I mean, though? There's got to be something to. Do you know what I mean? What's that TNA match with the 4 briefcases?
Feast or fired again? No. Do you really want to see when your top star's fired?
I know, but my point is, though, is it adds intrigue and drama to it. This is what you want, and the Chamber just doesn't do that. It doesn't do that at all. There's nothing exciting about watching this Chamber match. Like, who broke the mold this year? If anything, the person who had the best match of the whole card was AJ Lee, because it was her first singles match in like 10 years or whatever it was. The rest of the guys, that's what you do every week. You didn't do anything special. You didn't stand out. You didn't. What was any different you did in this match? Any different from what you do on a Monday or a Friday? Nothing.
I think we've got to that place in wrestling though a little bit where I feel that we do get everyone give what they give every single week. You know, we don't really see people hold back. I mean, house shows people hold back, but I mean, I don't really feel like on a Raw or a SmackDown it is different to a PLE because fans expect you to give everything that you got when you go out there. But for me, I think it comes down to the storytelling. I think that's what it comes down to. But this is where I would actually say, though, where I give a bit of a plus point to WWE because we went into this show saying that the safe options to pick to win these chamber matches were Tiffany Stratton and Cody Rhodes. And we said if they want to be bold and daring, they will give Rhea Ripley the win and they'll give Randy Orton the win. And they did that. They gave what we said would be the more daring options. Arguably, though, it is still, though, more safe options at the same time. And let me explain why. Rhea Ripley, we said, keep an eye on her if she drops the tag team titles on SmackDown. And we recorded the show before SmackDown had aired, so we couldn't give a full answer with that. But as soon as she dropped it, and then as soon as saw Tiffany Stratton was starting that chamber, immediately knew Rhea's winning. They're not going to do bell to bell for Tiffany. It wasn't going to happen. Obviously, Tiffany was the runner-up, and she sort of got knocked off the pod and then hit the Riptide and was in the Riptide, and then that she lost to Rhea Ripley. But Rhea versus Jade Cargill does feel like a fresh and exciting match rather than seeing another Tiffany rematch with Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. There's a reason to say, actually, I'm interested in the idea of that. You're sure WWE has scrapped a load of plans that they had in place. This is not something that's been on the marquee for 4 or 5 months, in my opinion. I do think that there was something for Rio for the tag team titles, but they've moved their separate ways now, and they're going to go on and do their thing. Rhea's going to be on SmackDown for the time being, it seems to be. Io's going to sort of go for it on Raw. Looks to possibly want to go for AJ Lee. Possibly could be going for Asuka and Kyrie's story. We'll have to wait and see where Io will fit into the landslide when it comes to WrestleMania. On the men's side, I mean, obviously, Randy winning has opened up a complete different can of worms because we've gone from going to, well, knowing that Randy Orton's going to be the guy for WrestleMania, but Randy versus Drew, we always knew was not going to be the match. But with Drew McIntyre getting involved in the chamber, Nick Aldis getting really upset after the show went off air, we've now got Drew versus Cody on SmackDown this week for the championship. With WWE ticket sales not going as great as they want, this is the opportunity for WWE to go and do one of two things. Number one, everybody gets involved. Jacob Fatu, Randy Orton, Aleister Black if he really wants to, Sami Zayn. They can throw it all and they can make their multi-man match. Friday's SmackDown is the place to make the multi-man match if they want to do it. Alternatively, what they could do is Cody simply wins the title. Drew doesn't get the championship into WrestleMania, and it becomes Cody versus Orton, and it goes back to Drew versus Jacob Fatu because that's the match Jacob Fatu wants. And if Drew McIntyre drops the title, Nick Aldis would have no problem saying, well, now here you go. You got your singles match at WrestleMania, and it will then come out that Drew McIntyre was the guy that took Jacob Fatu out late last year, unless they isn't the case and they save that reveal for a WrestleMania, and that's where Drew picks up the victory over Jacob Fatu. So they've got different roles and avenues they can actually do with it that actually makes storytelling actually a bit interesting going this week onto television. Maybe just the match itself wasn't that exciting, but like I say, there are some pros and plus points from what they did because I do feel had it been Tiffany Stratton wins, Cody Rhodes wins, I think both me and you would have said, even with the results, yawn.
Yeah, but then this is what I said to you before. So this is like the 5th WrestleMania in a row that Rhea Ripley has been in a world title match. I'm not being funny, but I said this a couple of weeks ago to you. Where's the new stars? Where's the new people? I know Jade Cargill is that new star, but I'm not being funny. Clearly something's gone wrong with the booking there because she's had the title for 3 months and hasn't defended the bloody thing. So what's the point?
Now.
All they're trying to do is correct mistakes. That's all they're trying to do. Because putting the title on Jade clearly was a mistake because she hasn't defended the thing, and now we've got to the point where we can't really do Tiffany again. So Tiffany's getting stiffed because they can't repeat the same match that they've already had twice with Jade Cargill. So I know, we'll just get Rhea the match. Don't get me wrong, Rhea will carry Jade to a good match. I believe that, but again, where's these new stars that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago? There is no one. You ain't got no one fighting for that world title. And then you go with, I'm sorry, but putting the title back on Cody is so boring. Like, you don't need Randy and Cody for a title. You didn't need it. they already had a story and a legacy together. You could have easily done this match if it had been booked correctly. You could have had these two have a match that was ultimately ended up in a screwy finish. Cody then ends up losing the title at some point, but you could still carry that story on. Now look who's getting stiffed for it. Drew is. Drew wins the world title, and he doesn't get to take it into WrestleMania. He's now going to face Jacob Fatu. Which, yeah, sure, okay, there's slight story intrigue, but I don't know, man. I wasn't overly excited at the idea of it. And look, with them struggling to sell tickets at the minute, this all feels really desperate. And I don't know, man. Like, I just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, I think Jonesy sent me a thing earlier about they're looking to have somewhere between 12 and 14 matches on this card, and five or six of them are going to be women's matches. If you can tell me a fifth and sixth women's match that's going to be on this WrestleMania card, I'd like to know what they are. Because I've got women's world title, world heavyweight title, tag titles, and possibly like Io versus Asuka versus Kairi. Where's the other two matches coming from? Because Julia hasn't done anything of any sort of, do you know what I mean, relevance with that United States Championship to be on there. Oh, you might get Becky versus AJ again. So there's five. But I don't know, man. This all feels really desperate.
I mean, the thing is, I've seen the same post. Jonesy sent me the same post, and shout out to Jonesy if you're watching. I know he's keen to listen to the review. WrestleMania has, I think the post said something like WrestleMania is looking to have like 15 matches this year and be one of the biggest WrestleManias match-wise ever. They've done that for the most recent years anyway. The report that was sent was not really a groundbreaking report. We have 7 matches on each night of WrestleMania. We have 2 nights. That's 14 matches. WrestleMania 32 had an 8-match card because we had Austin versus Owens. So it's kind of open that we have that. I think as well, WrestleMania 40 with Priest cashing in, it was an extra match on the card as well. So we're used to having like 15 matches on WrestleMania anyway over 2 nights. It's not really groundbreaking by them doing that. And great if 5 or 6 matches are women's matches.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It's fair, but my point is where's the build for any of these matches? Like, it's just been so really underwhelming for a lot of them. Like I said, the Kairi versus Asuka versus Io match, it's kind of like it peaks at some points and it just disappears again for weeks. It might not even be a match at this point. It might just be Io versus Asuka, which is fine. Again, they have history, but Io hasn't been on. Like, oh no, they only just lost the titles last week, but there's been no sort of interaction of anything relevant in the last few weeks, apart from when they did that multi-person tag match. It just feels a bit underwhelming. And yeah, look, in terms of the matches and having to do WrestleMania, it'd just be another thing for Triple H to come out after the show and go, "Oh well, we put on the most matches ever that we've ever had at WrestleMania." So shut the fuck up, man. You just waffle so much crap. It's the new era. Shut up.
Not to defend current WrestleMania, not to defend it.
Devil's advocate.
However, yeah, but was play devil's advocate because everyone screams bells and whistles. WrestleMania X7 is the best WrestleMania ever. It's the best show ever. I'm that guy as well. Don't worry, I'm on the same team. I think the same. But that is also a show that had Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle, a match that had 0 build and was booked 6 days before the show. 6 days before WrestleMania X7, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit had no match on the show, and they went out and put on a killing.
You tell me Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho are supposed to be on this card. Is that meant to be Asuka and Io? Right, fair enough. That's a great comparison.
Not saying that. I'm not saying that. To be fair, that they have a story. They have a story that goes back to September. There's not a great story, but they have a story that goes back to September. So they're one of the longer build stories. But there is stuff. I mean, we're at the point now where Chambers finished, and we've got 6 weeks till WrestleMania. 7, I think it's 7 SmackDowns, 6 Raws, something like that. Yeah. And there was enough time to build stories in that time. Like, not every WrestleMania. It's a conditioned thing for fans because where people think Triple H is a long-term storyteller, that everything has been built over a year and it now has to be built for 12 months. It's not necessarily the case. And if you look back in history, there's loads of WrestleManias where half of the stories and half of the matches are put together. They're thrown together 2 weeks before. They're just something that we all think, oh, they must have had a long build before it. I don't remember Head Cheese versus Big Boss Man and Bull Buchanan having a long 6 month build. I'm sorry, it didn't. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things.
But what I'm
So,
saying to you is, was the match quality any good though? That's what I'm trying to say.
well, no, it was not renowned. The Head Cheese match at WrestleMania 2000 is not renowned as a good one. But I mean, like at
Well,
the
there we
same
go.
time,
That's what I'm saying.
but there are, but
God.
Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle is contraire. I mean, obviously, you're talking to two of the best technical wrestlers ever, regardless of what happened in the future. But like, we have got a very talented roster now, and they can put out the bag.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 31 is a great example as well. Dog shit build. I'm sorry, it's one of the worst builds to wrestle. They were Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were pulling the title backwards and forwards on the go home show, and it came to WrestleMania 31. They knocked it right out of the park. I think Randy and Seth was like the one match that had the proper build from like November to WrestleMania. So it's possible to do a good WrestleMania still. I'm not going to leave it yet and say it's all gone. Let's give up on it. There are some years that WrestleMania's got a fantastic build, and we've been spoiled in recent years because WrestleMania 40 had a really good build to it, regardless of the twists and swerves and whether we liked it or didn't. Of the fact Cody was Royal Rumble winner, then taking the title shot away, then he got his way back in because The Rock ended up having a tag team match instead. It's fine because we got a really good story out of it. It was a really good build to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 39 had a pretty decent build to it as well. When you look at in the grand scheme of things, Cody looking to finish the story and winning the Royal Rumble, and then obviously you had Cena and Fury, which was not a good match, but still Ray and Dom, which had a really good long term story with it. Seth and Logan had something good going on as well. So there was good stuff when you look at across the board. Rhea and Charlotte as well had a good story that started from the Rumble, by the way, all the way to WrestleMania. But like there were other years where, like we said, it can be a bit lackluster, but sometimes these with mixed results. This will be interesting because last year's WrestleMania actually was not a badly built WrestleMania, but it actually didn't come up with the most desired feeling at the end of it. You'd think WWE is going to want to do a better job with Vegas this year.
Yeah, but it's like you look at people like Gunther, for example. He's been booked into such a corner where it's like, oh, apparently the rumor is he's going to face Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania.
We called that weeks ago, by the way.
But that's what I'm saying, though. This is Pete Dunne being renamed as Butch all over again. When you put someone in a certain spot, like you said, you put Pete Dunne as Butch, he ain't going to be remembered as Butch. He's now, and what's he doing now? He's a bloody luchador wrestler, wrestling for Grande Americano. Pete Dunne is such a better wrestler and a better character, but they've got him doing this stuff. And then I said the same worry when they booked Gunther doing this. Oh, I'll retire everyone. I'm sorry, what's going to happen when he runs out of people to retire? Do they just drop the shtick altogether? Do they drop the gimmick? Why? Why even bother doing it? Because Gunther's one of the best wrestlers on the card, and we've got him retiring people every pay-per-view. Guy can't even have a match on TV because he's got this legitimate I retire people thing going on, and it's stupid. And then I tell you what as well, there was one other thing I noticed with this pay-per-view, and it was during the first chamber match, the women's one, and it was just before the end of the match, and it was kind of like where I've turned around and gone, they've just lost it now. Michael Cole started banging out promotional material for sponsors during the end of the match, and I was like, "What have we come to?" Like, I'm sitting there watching the pay per view, and we not only are we getting like 3 or 4 minute commercial breaks during a pay per view, where I'm getting like flashbacks to when I used to watch Raw on a Monday night, where I'm like, listening to that music is just triggering now. It's worse than like ringing up the job centre if anyone's ever done that in the UK. It's that music now that, like, when they in 20 years from now, when people it's not on Netflix or whatever anymore, and it goes back to doing whatever, or they go back to the network or whatever it is, people will you'll hear that song, that bloody advert song from Raw, and people will just get trauma flashbacks from watching pay-per-views and Raw from this generation. And it's just going to haunt people. But yeah, Michael Cole banging on about sponsors, like, oh yeah, whatever it was, the sponsor. And I was like, is this it now? Have we really become? Is WWE really become a sports like advertisement? Has it become like the NFL? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a a watered down product that we're having to do product placements during matches. It's bad enough when we used to get a sponsored match on every card. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone still remembers the Mountain Dew Dark match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Everyone still remembers the Slim Jim matches where the whole ring is plastered with yellow and red and looks like Hulk Hogan's vomited all over it. And now we've got the commentators doing it. It's like it's just honestly, this just killed the product for me.
It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And if you ain't get it from tickets, you got to get it from somewhere.
But that's what I mean. But it's clearly not what I'm saying. It's not working, is it? Because ticket sales are down on last year. Because one, you're trying to rip the average fan off. This was the other thing as well about this Chicago show as well. I think I was saying it to you or saying it to someone else that the reason why this crowd was so dead is because it's only rich, entitled people going that can afford the tickets anymore. The average wrestling fan, your average working Joe, can't afford to go anymore. The ones that sit there and watch the product every week, they can't go anymore. And you get these wrestling crowds that just like, it's become such a family orientated thing, which is fine. But when you can't even get, it's almost like, you know how football games over here in the UK, there is a designated family section where people can bring their kids and they can sit there with their kids. There should be a designated section in pro wrestling for the hardcore fans where you charge them dirt low cheap tickets, let them get absolutely drunk and chant whatever the goddamn thing they want. Because at least it'd be interesting.
I mean, those are the ones at the front, though. Those are the ones, the influencer ones that are at every show. So, I mean, I personally disagree with that just because of the fact that I don't think families are taking over these shows at the moment. You do see some there, but I think they're the ones that are suffering the most because they're the ones that have to fork out the most for tickets.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't see it as that way, and I do see that there are.
That's what I mean. I'm not against people going and watching wrestling.
Yeah.
I just think your average fan who has a much bigger interest in it. This is why crowds are so dead. This is why we didn't even mention Danhausen yet. By the way, I know a lot of people are stiffing all over it. I just generally couldn't stop laughing. I thought I don't know what it was about it, but I've watched it like 50 times, and I piss myself with laughter every time, and I don't know why. And then obviously his thing on Raw, it was great. I thought him on Raw was great, but what an underwhelming debut. But I just honestly can't stop laughing at it.
Well, we'll talk about it. People keep comparing it to the Shockmaster, which I don't know why. No, he doesn't fall over. There's no like, there's no helmet either in this which comes off of his head or whatever, and you get the big reveal. But I mean, like the other one is the gobbledygooker, which again, I actually can see why people go with that a little bit because that had promotion for weeks before the Survivor Series 1919. Look, it's a blimmin' giant egg. I mean, that hatches in the middle of the bloody show, which let's be honest, that doesn't seem like the most great idea to have where you can have this is a satisfying conclusion, you know what I mean, because you have a box traveling from Raw to SmackDown for weeks. And we've mentioned Jonesy, he's mentioned this on the comment, it's so true. Are we supposed to believe there was like Danhausen and 8 dancers in a box altogether going ship from Raw to SmackDown? Yeah, you're right. But this is the thing, we're supposed to suspend disbelief, but there was never a satisfying there was never a logical conclusion to this story. There was never. The only way this was ever going to be logical was inside the big box was a litter box, and inside the litter box was a little message or a little phone or something that's going to hit play me, and this is the message or whatever. Then someone comes from somewhere else. Or if Danhausen had used that as a trick and then play me, then the music comes, and then all of a sudden he comes out from somewhere else rather than the box. But he's the only one that can half make the box work because of the fact it's so stupid, and he politely is so stupid, so it works. There is a theory going around.
I thought his presentation was fantastic. I think his music is spot on for the character. Like I said, I text you and I was like, has Danhausen always been a vampire, or have I just really been that sort of oblivious to what he's supposed to be? And obviously he comes out like Dracula. Like I said, the music is great. It's a very anyone, if you're old enough, you remember the Munsters or the original TV adaptation of the Addams Family. It just felt very like that. I thought the dancers were great. Obviously, it's a one-off thing, but I just thought that aesthetically, it just looked pretty cool. The only thing I was really disappointed by was just the fact that he didn't do anything. He just gave Michael Cole some teeth, had a really underwhelming bit of pyro smoke go off right at the end, and that was it. And I was like, oh, okay, then fair enough. I talked to someone the following day, and they didn't even see the Danhausen entrance. They was like, when did that happen? And I went, like, after the third match before the fourth. He was like, I don't remember seeing that. That's how underwhelming it was. It did nothing.
No. And the thing is, actually, there's reports come out because there was a lot of boos after that was it. And a lot of people thought, oh, he's got a really bad reception. And I felt that as well by watching the show. Like, oh, they didn't like him being there. They wanted Jericho out of that box. Well, come on, Jericho wasn't coming out of the box, I guess. As much as I, at one point, went, I'll predict it because it's what I wanted. It's what I wanted to see. But there's no way that Jericho really was ever going to come out of a box if he's going to come and be back in WWE. As much as I wanted to try and find a creative way to make it work, the box of Jericho, just it's never going to happen. So yeah, okay, he's come out of the box, but according to some reports that actually quite a lot of fans were quite vocal afterwards of the fact that they wanted more from Danhausen. Like you say, it was an underwhelming because
100%.
we got this big entrance, this big razzmatazz, and all of a sudden it was like, hang on, he just disappeared. Like, we thought we were going to get some mic time. We thought we were going to get a segment or something that could build to something. But we didn't get that. But like you say, well, Monday Night Raw, fantastic. With his list of demands, he said he got cheered as well on the show, which, come on, let's be honest.
Great.
Like, yeah, just sort of take it and play with it. So the thing is, my list of demands, which he's got a piece of paper's dropped in the toilet.
Hall of Fame entry was great
this year. And I was
one of those Triple H photos that everyone posts online about. Great.
Some great stuff in it, really good stuff. And then with Dominic Mysterio, which, look, Jonesy will be able to back me up on this if he puts in the comments, spoke on it and has said the way he should debut is curse Dominic Mysterio, and it can link well for him losing the IC title to Penta on Raw. And it's exactly what they did. It's exactly what they did.
Every reaction clip I've seen of Danhausen doing that to Dom Mysterio, like, oh my god, Dom's losing the title, and it's like, yes, that's the exact feeling you want. Was that what it was? It was great. I'm gutted we didn't get more. We get like one 60-second segment in a 3-hour show with Danhausen. Like, is that it? I really wanted more. Like, he's such a good character, and like he can wrestle as well. That's the good thing. It's just you just really want more of people like that.
The thing with Danhausen they have to be very careful with is that he has got
oversaturation, and
he's got an expiry date. The character will only work for so long in this kind of style, this gimmick. So he is the kind of type of character that right now he can't go around cursing half of the roster because that's what he does. If he curses half of the roster, it has no impact. So he needs to continue with Dom and has a minute and a half. Yeah, but now Dominic Mysterio, this is how Dominic's road to WrestleMania is going to go because he's dropped the IC title. He's probably going to go on a losing streak. It's not just going to be losing one match. And he's going to have to probably go and find a way. He's probably going to be linked with Danhausen all the way to WrestleMania because this will link to the breakup of the Judgment Day. This will link to now him versus and it's Danhausen's fault. And it's going to be a case of I'm losing every match, Danhausen. I've got WrestleMania. I've got the Triple A Mega Championship going to be defended. I need you to lift the curse. And Danhausen's probably going to have to say, like, you know, well, you have to take back everything you said about me. You know, maybe it's something, you know, I'd just say, by the way, I want Danhausen to be the host of WrestleMania. That's what I want. I just want Danhausen as the host because then he can have his minimized moments and be comedic all the way through rather than have a match. I think it will have more impact for Danhausen on WrestleMania. But still,
I think what they should do, the Raw before, or like whatever, a couple of Raws before, you should have that Dom confronting Danhausen saying lift the curse thing. And you do it because Danhausen wanted a title, and you should get Danhausen to have a match with Dom for the AAA title.
Yeah,
Danhausen can lose that. That's fine. But it's the reason. It's the reason why that curse gets lifted for them only for him to then go and lose that AAA Mega Championship at WrestleMania.
Be perfect storytelling because if Danhausen can win it, he can go into the Hall of Fame as a AAA Mega Champion that year as well. Just play on it. Just go with it. He's entertaining as. So yeah, bit disappointing on the night, but do you know what? There's got some legs with this. It's going to work well on Raw. I still want as well. I don't think I said this on the show last week, so I want this. He's good friends with CM Punk. I want
Yeah.
Danhausen to take credit for the injuries to the Vision because they were coming for CM Punk's championships. And before he even got to WWE in the box, he was cursing the Vision, which is why we don't have Bronson Reed, which is why we don't have Bron Breakker, and is why all the masked men were coming and attacking the Vision, and it helped Seth Rollins get better quicker in time for WrestleMania.
Can you imagine Danhausen going around like cursing like Brock Lesnar? Oh, that'd be so funny. Brock Lesnar would just want to hurt that guy. He would just want to kill him, and Danhausen would be like, "You are cursed," and it'd be so funny. I would honestly, it'd be so good.
It would be good. Last thing on Danhausen, I want Danhausen, Mr. Iguana, R-Truth, and Kit Wilson to be the Avengers of WWE.
Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm just trying to think who plays what role here. So obviously Kit Wilson is Captain America because Captain America doesn't like swearing, and Kit Wilson is like obviously against toxic men. So that would be he's definitely your Captain America. Danhausen is probably your Thor, your comic relief, I would say. Mr. Iguana, probably a Hawkeye, the silent, mysterious type that doesn't say a lot, probably. I don't know, just having a guess here. And who did you say the fourth one was?
It has to be R-Truth.
R-Truth. R-Truth's just R-Truth. He doesn't need a replacement.
he's an Avenger and a hero in all of our hearts. He always has
Black
been.
Widow.
He doesn't age, R-Truth. Love him. Doesn't age.
Well, if you say that, that's why he shaved his head, because his hair was falling out.
Well, that was the only thing, but now we're mistaken for 30 again quite easily.
Hey, bring back K-Quick if anyone remembers that reference.
Well, speaking of K-Quick, do you know, we haven't even given match ratings and spoke about two of the matches on the chain, but this is a weird review. It's a generalized conversation we're having, but still, you mentioned K-Quick. He was a team of Road Dogg. Road Dogg, Eric has been fired. The reports are that he's no longer with WWE. All I have to say about this, really, I don't really have too much to say about it, is but I'm not surprised. His portrayal in WWE Unreal was not the greatest. It came across that he didn't really know what he was doing, didn't have good answers for everything, emotion over logic, and it just explained as almost, dare I say, a bit of a scapegoat for the situation, because fans will say, what's up with the creative? And it's probably harmful for WWE and Triple H's side as well. We can't have someone like this on our creative. Where for Road Dogg's side, it's like, well, hang on, I'm not like this. I give creative ideas. I do stuff for WWE. The thing you show of me is the moment I'm having a meltdown over Chelsea Green not being able to find her an opponent. You make me look stupid. So it kind of goes hand in hand, really, of why I can see why the passings happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a typical thing in it. You want to look for someone to blame, and don't get me wrong, Road Dogg has obviously had very 50-50 booking anyway. Like, he's been known for some really good stuff, and he's been known for some really bad stuff. But I think that just comes with like it comes with the job, really, that you're going to get half of it right and half of it wrong. You're not going to get everything perfect. But yeah, like you said, when they broadcast, I was talking to Jonesy about this, and I was like, you can't believe everything you see on Unreal, because at the end of the day, it's a highly edited show. WWE obviously have a final say over what goes out, and there's probably stuff where they're like they've taken out of it. So again, you just can't believe everything.
Do you want to know one of my faults I think WWE has with the current creative? Is that I actually think that what they're booking on TV is what they are booking for Unreal Season 2, then what will now be coming for Season 3. It's about moments, it's about spectacle, it's about the gotcha moments, and that's what I think sometimes really can hamper what they're trying to create on TV, because I feel like before there was ever a WWE Unreal, I think they were coasting pretty well with their storylines on the whole. Yeah, I think there's some up and downs there is in every era, but at the same time, I think since that's kicked in, it's all about what can we do to get them. And I think that just, whilst it can lead to fun speculation between fans, let's take, for example, Seth Rollins' injury last year at Saturday Night's Main Event. Is he injured? Is he not? Is he? Isn't he? Yeah, it can create spark of debate, and there's a bit of 50-50 going on. But at the same time, it's all for this big reveal where I think a lot of people saw that coming. Where does it lead to storyline basis? SummerSlam last year may be a bad example because it actually worked out pretty well. But there are other things they do for Unreal where you sit and go, Oh, okay, but it didn't work out well. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
a strange
it's
one.
almost a vicious circle. But because the TV product isn't doing that well, they're having to do stuff like Unreal to get Netflix more viewerships for their product. And they're
Mm,
having, do you know what I mean? It's a vicious circle. They can't put out good TV, so they make controversial stuff that they can put on a B-reel show like Unreal. So then Netflix is happy with the content they're putting out and the viewership that they're getting.
absolutely. Let's go through the chamber quickly, match by match. Just
Let's go for it.
mainly match rating. Any words you want to say about it? I think that's the best way to go about it.
Go for it.
So, women's chamber, Rhea winning, beating Tiffany in the final there. I thought Kiana had a good showing. She was in it for a lot longer than I expected, starting the match as well with Tiffany. Alexa, didn't really do so much in the match. Was first eliminated as well. Got involved with a miss with Asuka. Surprised Asuka was eliminated as early as she was as well in the match. Raquel Rodriguez had a good showing in the match as well, and I thought that, and I got it wrong actually. I said that I can't remember if I said with Kiana James, but she was power slammed through that pod by Raquel Rodriguez. I'm not sure if I said that earlier on. I think I might have said someone else, but Raquel with the double pin that she did was a really impressive, cool visual as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the highlights of the match. Like, I think there was a gnarly, I think it was a powerbomb Raquel, I think, hits on Rhea from the outside into the ring. That looked a bit rough, a bit gnarly. But apart from that, just nothing to write home about. Like 2.5 from me. Thought it was okay.
Yeah, I will go for 3. Yeah, and like I said, nothing was bad in the match, but nothing was exceptionally great. There were a couple of spots I really liked, a couple of visuals I thought that were really good in the match, but nothing really was created further from this storyline. I think again, this is another thing: 2 chamber matches in the same night. Sometimes you feel the women sometimes are shafted because the men are saved for the big angles and the big spots in the main event. So they sort of have a, can you give us the same kind of match but without the razzmatazz in it? So yeah, that's going to be my take on that. AJ Lee winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I say this is safe booking as well because it's in Chicago. Yes, she's a New Jersey girl, but she lives in Chicago. Obviously, Jessica Khan was the referee, so you could immediately tell this is going to be an AJ Lee win. We didn't even mention the referee in the preview. And yeah, I mean, it plays into the Becky Brigade of everything going against her right now. So it does fit well for narrative and storyline purposes. But you expect there'll be another match at WrestleMania. But yeah, for me, you said you thought this could be. Was this match of the night for you? It certainly wasn't for me.
No, I think AJ is my MVP for the night. I think for her first singles match in over 10 years. And you could see in the first couple of minutes that she was kind of blown up already by like fatigue, ring wear, and whatever. But I think she carried herself really well. Went on to have a half decent match. I can't really knock this. For someone who hasn't wrestled a singles match in 10 years and Becky Lynch, I thought this was okay. I gave this a 2.5 as well. The only thing I was genuinely shocked by was the result. I just didn't expect AJ to win because it's in Chicago and you already had Punk winning. So I think it was a great result. I said to you before, though, AJ winning just adds lineage to that IC title, which is a great thing. I'm looking forward to where that goes. Obviously, it's probably going to be a rematch at WrestleMania, which I'm looking forward to as well. Yeah, like I said, there was nothing wrong with the match, and I just said I was impressed with AJ Lee having to have a singles match because she genuinely looked gassed from like the first 2 minutes. Like even doing like collar and elbow tie-ups, she just looked like she was tired already, and it was just getting rid of that ring rust.
Yeah, I will agree with all that. I thought originally it was going to be match of the night for you, which no, it wouldn't be for me. But I agree with everything you just said there. And I think that, like you say, she's going to continue to get better, I think, now because she's looking to have singles matches defending that title. And obviously, the likes of Bailey on Raw, live Akira, Io Sky's thrown a name in as well. We should get some fun matches between now and WrestleMania, some potential dream matches from an AJ Lee return standpoint. Is there any particular matches you want to see AJ Lee have? I think Bailey would have been top of my list.
A returning Paige, so we get a redo of when Paige debuted and won the Divas Championship off of AJ Lee. Why not, man? Why not? Let's just do that.
Give me what I want. Yeah, that would be quite fun. I would be open minded to that indeed. Anyone from the current roster?
Oh, I mean, look, I would say someone like Rhea Ripley, but again, you want to heal, really. You want to heal. Oh God, apart from Becky, there isn't really a lot of top dog heels, really, is there? That, I mean, apart from like anyone, I think will benefit. I think the problem is it's probably going to be a load of babyface matches, like a Maxine Dupree and whoever else. And Natty maybe might be a good. Like, I think those two have probably got some history and some decent ring chemistry together, so that wouldn't be a bad shout. And plus, it's an easy victory for AJ to retain.
Absolutely. The name I will throw out is Roxanne Perez, but I want that match to be when Roxanne
Yeah,
wins
great
the
shout.
title. So yeah,
Yeah.
I want that. So Roxanne Perez will be my one. But yeah, for the match
Liv
itself, I'm
Morgan.
going to agree with you. I'm going to go for 2.5 star as well. I thought it was okay. Did what it needed to do, I think, is what you could say with that match.
Yeah.
CM Punk, Finn Balor. I thought these two were very good. It wasn't as good as the Belfast match, but certainly was still a fantastic match regardless. I think these two do have really good chemistry. I think they tell a good story. I like the moment that Finn Balor did look to the back, but obviously realized, no, I want to do this on my own. But he had that sort of moment of like, Judgment Day, help. And obviously in the end, you know, he did fall into the GTS, which of course was the reason that CM Punk would go on to retain. But yeah, look, this one for me was a 3.5 star match. And for me, I do think it's the match of the night. I really do.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think my only other issue is that there's so much rest holds in this right at the start, and I think it's for. I think I remember it correctly. There's like a 2.5 minute rest hold at like in the start of this match somewhere, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, in this day and era, do we really need a 2.5 minute rest hold?
Maybe not that long, but then it's storytelling. It's old school
Yeah,
storytelling, isn't
true.
it? You know,
Yeah,
we
but
always talk about the good old
aside from
days.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean. Aside from that, decent match, great ring chemistry. I'm not going to complain about it. It's a predictable match. That was the only thing.
Yeah, predictable, certainly indeed. Yeah, let me
I'll
see.
go with a
We've got
3 star for me. I think it was the best match of the night as well.
yeah. And the men's chamber, obviously Logan Paul eliminating the first three people, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and LA Knight as well. I had to think about that for a second. Logan Paul was eliminated. There was the masked man once again. We'd seen one on SmackDown that was revealed and was one of Seth's students. And we had another one, which I think was another one of Seth's students as well. That got everyone security-wise taking the second person out, leading to a third masked man to be revealed to be Seth Rollins, hit the curb stomp on Logan Paul, which led to his eventual elimination, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously from that point onwards, that's once we got Drew McIntyre getting involved in there as well, because the security taking care of the Seth stuff and all them being away, the door was just left open. So that's where Drew could come in. And obviously Drew went to attack Cody Rhodes, which of course Randy Orton got involved, hit an RKO, and that led to Cody Rhodes and hitting the crossroads. And this is why I'm going to disagree with you in a minute. I do think Cody and Randy does need to be for a title, because Randy he hit the button. He pulled the trigger. He hit the RKO on Cody Rhodes and picked up the victory. And for me, I thought it was a really well executed last 5 minutes of the match. And I think that it's told a couple of different stories going to WrestleMania. I think we all predictably can see Seth versus Logan seems to be a direction they could go. However, we could get the Usos versus Division as well, judging off Raw this past week. But also, we do have a situation with Randy Orton and Cody and Drew with the title scene. And why I think it could make sense for a title to be involved. Randy was looking at Cody's title for a very, very long time, to the point it was winding fans up, which is point number one. Point number two, the last time these two did have a match, which didn't involve a title, although technically did, but it didn't involve the WWE Championship, was the King of the Ring final last year, Night of Champions. And that was the night that Cody pulled the trigger. And Cody was a bit heelish in that match, till what was the point when I think we on the build to SummerSlam was like double turn at SummerSlam. Cody's turning heel when Cena's going face. Only one of those happened. And probably not the best explanation either. But still, I digress. We're not going back into that, long time ago. But for here, Randy pulled the trigger this time. He learned his lessons. Didn't quite do that against Cody the last time at King of the Ring. So it leads to an idea now where the fact that Randy done it and Cody at this point didn't do it, because Cody's back into, QB1 and dare I say Captain America, he's the goody two baby face that there is. I mean, if this leads to a multi-man match at WrestleMania where Cody's involved in it, but he's not involved as the champion, I think there is an argument we could get Cody heel turn because I think he's going to get more and more frustrated, more and more desperate. It's almost going to be like he's the Austin of going into WrestleMania 7. Have I got to do whatever it takes to win this title because I'm meant to be the face of this company? And I think that could lead to a really interesting story with him and Randy because in that scenario in the chamber, like I said, Randy just pulled the trigger. Like, yes, he took care of Drew, but he manipulated the situation. It was so cleverly done because it's like RKO. I know what Cody's going to do next because I taught him everything he knows. He's going to hit his finish on him to get Drew completely out the match because he knows he's not going to be there. And that second he gets up, I'm not even giving him a chance. He's getting RKO'd. Like, it was so well done. And I think fans will be quite, I think a portion of the fans that WWE know that can get the cheering out of it. The story for this is Randy to get the 15th world title. There is a portion out there that want to see that. It's not always every hardcore fan's dream to see, but there is a portion out there that would like it. To have that where Randy's the more popular of the two going into this scenario could be very fascinating because that can also play into the idea of this desperation from Cody because not only is it, I need to be the champion, I'm supposed to be naturally the good guy. I'm supposed to be the one that they're all behind, not Randy Orton. And that can just lead as well to a little bit of good psychology going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, the only reason why I think it's probably going to end up being a multi-man is because I don't think the Cody turn will happen. I think the guy's basically John Cena at this point. He is the face of the company that all the little kids want to cheer and support, and he wears the red, white, and blue, and do you know what I mean? He has all the T-shirts and all the merch and does all the meet and greets. I don't see the heel turn coming. I'll be shocked if they do it, honestly. But like I said to you, it'll probably end up being a 4-way. It'll end up being Jacob, Drew, Cody, Randy. If that were to happen, I want Randy to win. I'm one of the few that wants him to win that 15th title. It's been too long since we've seen Randy with a title, and I think there's a lot more. Honestly, I think it's just the most fresh start you could do. Don't get me wrong, Jacob Fatu winning the title would be great as well. But Randy with a 15th title, I think would just be fantastic. There have been so many teasers over the last couple of years about him winning that 15th championship. I think this year needs to be that one.
Is there a possibility? Because Randy pulled the trigger. Aleister Black is the mind manipulator behind bringing back 2009 Randy Orton back out. There is a possibility that we could see a Punk kick coming in between now and WrestleMania.
I hope so.
And is there an argument? Aleister Black beat Randy Orton a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown. Drew was a factor in their match as well. I said it before. I think there's a chance we're getting a 5-way here. There is an absolute chance a 5-way could happen. And Sami Zayn's also still backstage with everyone as well, talking, to the likes of Cody Rhodes, talking to the, people backstage. There is an idea that we could have Sammy versus Trick Williams, which is something that has been building on the side, which makes me think Sammy won't be involved. But at this stage, I don't completely rule Sammy out of the match just yet.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't rule him out either. I don't know. It just seems like a bit of it's going to be like a lot of bodies in one match. Like it's very rare we get more than 4 people in a world title scene. So, like I said, if anything more than that, I think seems a bit excessive or a bit overkill. I don't know. I could be really, really wrong. I'm not against it. I just don't think Sammy gets in at this point. I think Sammy's been too backstage. I think there's more. I think there's more of a story to tell after WrestleMania with Sammy, because I think the rumor in the dirt sheets was that they were going to do a Bret Austin with him and Trick Williams. You cannot turn Trick Williams babyface right now. He is too good as a heel, and you will kill all his momentum. I'm not against Sammy turning heel, but I think turning Trick babyface is just so stupid at the minute because he's so good. He's such a natural heel.
He is such a natural heel, but he's also such a natural face. Everyone's cheering. If we remember, some of the best baby faces in history were basically heels as faces. Austin, you mentioned a minute ago, didn't really change the tune that
The
much
Rock.
of what he was as a heel. He took on someone that was also a dastardly heel, and he did evil things to Vince McMahon. Destroying his Corvettes and pulling guns with Bang 316, and he got rave reviews of how it was done. The Rock was someone, Nation of Domination. Really. Rocky Die was the squeaky clean baby face, went to being a heel, transitioned back to a face, still was The Rock, and Rock was the biggest thing ever. I do think Trick Williams, they're going to have a tough time keeping that guy heel. A real tough time.
I just think it's too soon.
Potentially, but I think Trick, if he still talks to himself as his Hollywood Trick Williams, he can just do promos like The Rock. He is a face already. He is a face.
Yeah.
Politely, because even though he's in the matches as heels, the people love the guy, and
it's just amazing.
It's got to a point.
It's so amazing. He's over more than Carmelo Hayes, and Carmelo Hayes has been on the roster for a year.
It's easy. It's easy. Carmelo Hayes has not been booked anywhere near like Trick Williams in that time. They've tried with Carmelo in the last, this year since he won the US title, but even then, it's still very much not much character. They kept Trick down for another year, and they zoned in on something that's going to strike. It's going to strike them money. It's going to strike them gold. Trick Williams is just.
I know what Carmelo Hayes' bigger problem was. They stuck him with the Miz.
Yes and no. Yes and no, because
the Miz can't get booked. He can't get booked at the minute. They won't give him another IC title run because I think at that point he becomes the most decorated IC champion in WWE history.
Tied with Jericho anyway.
Tied with Jericho, which is, again, something they won't do. Because I think that's something that if they were going to do it, they'll wait till Jericho comes back and do a whole Miz Jericho thing, which would be pretty cool. But anytime he's involved in some form of tag team, or rather, he wins a tag title and then it all goes tits up 5 minutes later. And it's essentially what happened with Carmelo Hayes. They put him in a tag team with him. What happened? 5 minutes later, it went tits up. He just didn't win the tag team titles this time.
If it helps, though, Carmelo Hayes was a singles wrestler without Miz before for about a year. Didn't do much with him. He did more with the Miz than he did without the Miz that first year.
They never gave him a microphone.
Nope.
The guy has natural charisma. They just never gave him a microphone.
No, but when they put him with the Miz, it did start to get better. He got TV time, which he wasn't getting. But now Dan Hayes is a babyface. Sorry.
I said Dan hasn't had more TV time. Done more in a week than Carmelo Hayes has done.
Certainly, if you compare them at the start.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. Carmelo Hayes has had a decent run with that US title, but he's taken 18 months to get to that point.
Multi-man ladder match for US title. It feels like it's going that way for WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably. Matt Cardona will probably be in it as well. Because,
Ilya.
He obviously won the bloody thing. Ilya, yeah. I'm not against that. It's a safe option to get many people on the roster, and it's a ladder match. You can always get half decent ladder matches.
Certainly. Quickly, we mentioned Trick. Him and Javon Evans didn't think they got the greatest showing in the chamber.
No.
I felt like they could have been showcased.
Javon was a bit green in this match, like, surprisingly enough. I don't know if it's big stage nerves or whatever, but it just felt like some of his stuff wasn't as fluid as what it normally was. So, like I said, it's not the end of the world. I just feel like he was just missing a step there in the chamber.
First proper PLE main event. I guess the Rumble last month, but at the same time, there's a difference of being in the main event of the Royal Rumble match where there's 30 people involved. It's a 6 in this one, but still, it's more focuses on solely you in a way rather than just
you get your stick in a chamber.
Yeah, exactly. There's 29 other people around you that can get their stick in as well, where he was only a few at a time because he started the match as well. Others are in pods. So, but I think it'll be the first of many for John Evans. He's got a very, very bright future ahead. So, I still think it will be fine. They just could have, after the Rumble, they did such a good job. I think they could have showcased those two just a bit better in this match, personally, for me. But Logan Paul eliminating the first 3 people, I mean, I think it comes down to the basis of he was going to be the Bronson Reed of this match, and Bronson Reed was going to be the Braun Breaker of this match. So I think that's the initial booking of what they were going with here. One thing quickly before we go to star rating, LA Knight's botch. where he goes
Cool,
to
yeah.
where they slips off the top rope. He's slipping off the top rope a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's part of his character, isn't it? Because he does his whole taunt and stuff and whatever. I think he recovered well. I mean, look, I'm not being funny. How many times have we seen people botch and not recover? And at least
Mm.
do you know what I mean? He landed, did a stomp, and then still dropped an elbow drop. So it wasn't like a major thing. But yeah, I think like this is almost like the AJ thing. If you ain't gonna keep hitting it fluidly, you need to stop doing it because AJ went through the same thing with the forearm. He just kept watching it, and it's kind of
Mm.
getting to the point where LA Knight should be like, maybe I should stop doing the elbow drop.
I think so. I think so. Would just make sense because the second rope to the jump, the top rope jump, is great when you pull it off. But if you don't need to do it, something you better do something simple that's effective and works rather than trying to be flash and it goes wrong 4 or
Just
5 times.
stand on the top rope and do it. Just, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You stand on the top rope, do the taunt, and then just jump off. You don't need to do that spring up. Do you know what I mean? Save your dignity almost.
Absolutely. But he had a great moment on Raw, driving the ambulance away with Paul Heyman in it. I thought that was really, really well done. That felt like an old Austin moment, actually, to be fair. But quickly then, star rating for the men's chamber match. Obviously, we mentioned Orton winning it.
I gave it like a 3 as well. I think the winner was right. I think Logan Paul had a great showing. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Trick, Javon, and Logan Paul all in the Money in the Bank match, Money in the Bank ladder match later on this year, because I think Logan Paul's going to win that. I think staying fit is benefiting him so much that he's like, that guy's going to win a world title within the next 12 months, and it will probably be via the Money in the Bank. Randy winning, I think, is great. Cody's irritating me because he's taking too long to hit his finishing move, because that just irritates me as well. He sits there, grabs him, and then holds him for like 5 seconds before hitting it. Why are you pausing for dramatic effect? This isn't a drama. This isn't a TV show. This isn't a film. You're meant to be wrestling, so do the bloody move already. But 3-star for me.
3.25 for me. Just outside match of the night. But
yeah.
Let's do our little expedition. Just actually, before we do, you mentioned Money in the Bank. I think it's the most open Money in the Bank ever, by the way, this year. There's so many people that could be in with a shout that could win a Money in the Bank and you'd say would deserve it. You mentioned Logan Paul there. Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, should the vision still be a thing or not a thing going on later in the year. LA Knight, we still want to see it. Dominic Mysterio, I think his time will come with it. Finn Balor, if he had a resurgence. Penta would be a really fun one to see. Like, there's so many people. Trick Williams, you want to push him up the ladder. There's so many options that you could do. Sami Zayn, if you want to have the big redemption thing for him to try and go and win a world title. There's just so many possibilities. It's going to be fascinating when it comes to September time this year when it comes to that. But hey, that's later in the year. This is the chamber. Let's go through quickly those quick rapid moments we do at the end of each of these reviews. OMG moment of the night.
AJ Lee winning the IC title.
I like it. OG moment of the night. Seth's return for me. Seth's return. Yeah, I think that was that was pretty well done. Match of the night.
Punk versus Balor.
Agreed. Entrance of the night.
Danhausen. I fucking loved it. I'm sorry.
That's fair. CM Punk for me. I love the Michael Jordan style entrance. I thought that was really, really well done.
Cyrus, I think that song's called, yeah.
It is indeed, yeah. Really good song. MVP of the night?
AJ Lee. I think having a first singles match in 10 years, getting through it and winning, I think it was great.
Fair play to that one. I'm going to go with Kiana James. James. Wish she had a really good showing. The bump through the pod was nasty.
She
and
actually got a lot of stuff in the women's match.
Yeah, she's had a really good couple of impressive showings this year. I think she could be one of those mid-card champions, and it wouldn't be surprised her versus Julia at some point, So it wouldn't surprise me. Final rating out of 10 for Elimination Chamber.
5. I think it's okay. It's not great. It's not memorable. I think it's an okay show to watch.
It's an okay show to watch, but I'm going to go a little higher than you for that one. I'm going to go for a 6.5.
Fair enough.
6.5. It's not for me. 7 is the bare minimum where we'll go for good. So 6.5. I think it was, like I said, I go with it. It wasn't a bad show. It was a safe show, and that's why I'm going to stick with that. A couple of talking points we can do for Monday Night Raw that we haven't discussed already. Although we kind of half answered this question, but Noob did put this in ages ago, and I feel bad if we don't call the comment up here. But it said with Rhea going after Jade Cargill, where does that leave Io Sky? Oscar is the much better route. I feel that could be the case. I feel Io Sky could be the one to save Kairi Sane rather than a triple threat match. It's more the case of Kairi come away from Oscar being bullied all the time. So I can see it being Io versus Oscar with Kairi basically being pulled away from Oscar.
Yeah, agreed.
Seems to be the safer option there. Yeah, Monday Night Raw. We mentioned Penta winning the IC title. It'd be interesting to know his WrestleMania route from here, because you'd imagine someone like Javon Evans might be around. Could it be another multi-man match here for the IC title?
Possibly. I can't really see a lot of like challenges at the minute. There's no he's been feuding with Dominic most of the bloody year. So yeah, what they want to do with it, I don't know. Possibly another multi-man match, and even that in for that as a possibility as a ladder match. Like anything from the tag titles to the US or the IC, one of them's got to be a ladder match.
Could be the El Grande Americano has been thrown in if they don't get their mask versus mask match.
Sure.
But do you know what I want it to be? Because the guy's been wasted on SmackDown. Give us Penta versus Phoenix. Move Phoenix to Raw.
Yeah. It's time for that guy to really start to get his stuff in, because Penta's had a really good year, and Ray Phoenix has had nothing. I know he's been injured for part of it, but still.
They've had really good chemistry when obviously they're brothers, they can have good chemistry. But like they, great as a tag team and everyone wants to see the team. But like, wouldn't it be fun to see them versus Usos would be fun, but as Penta's the IC champion, I just feel like they also have great matches in Lucha Underground as well against one another. And that was before when I first watched Lucha, I didn't know that they were related. So I was just like, they've got great chemistry, these two. So I mean, like I'd be open to seeing something like WWE, just do the brother versus brother thing.
Yeah, I'd be all for it.
What's the worst that can happen? Can always be another Uso versus Uso match. But CM Punk, Roman Reigns closed off Monday Night Raw with their face-to-face. They got quite personal again. Roman Reigns likes to call Punk Phil because Phil doesn't like being called Phil. Also, he mentioned about the reference of the Shield, how Roman said, "You didn't want me," and Punk said, "Yeah, but you wanted me." We got mentioned as well about how Roman said he's going to basically retire Punk. He said, "We're going to make you your own retirement tour when I'm done with you at WrestleMania. You get the John Cena treatment. And then when we're done with that and milked all the money out of you for some T-shirts and stuff like that, we'll stick you down with NXT and you can go down there. You can build up the people for the future, send them up to me. Then I will beat all of them." I loved that. I thought it was really, really fun. And then obviously, Punk has said, "I'm not just going to beat you at WrestleMania. I'm going to bury you. And then when I finish with you, you're going to be next to your father," which, ouch, that's a mic drop moment. Thoughts on the interaction?
I thought it was a great promise, and I thought that the shock factor got over with the whole burying you next to your father thing, but I also think it was slightly tasteless that they would do something like that. Why? Like, there's no... It almost like it said it leads to a Punk heel turn, because it is a very heel thing to say. But I think it's a very crass. I'm not a big fan of being like, "I'm going to bury you next to your father." What, you mean your father who's like in the Hall of Fame and like literally was on TV this time last year and whatever it was? Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
It was a taster sign. For me, it's my least favorite line of the promo, and I think it's the one that's most impactful, funnily enough. And for those that want their TV 14, there's me turning saying, "Yeah, I don't like that line." Maybe it's not for me. But yeah, at the same time, I
20
do
years
like.
ago, I loved it, but yeah.
Right now it's that could be also an age thing for us. We're a little bit more of the fine wine we are. We get better with age. But at the same time, I thought it was a really good segment between the two. It still makes me want to see this match all the more. They'll have more interactions between now and WrestleMania, so keep them coming. Do you think that they're going to get physical very soon?
Probably. They'll probably be in a tag match or something against each other. There'll probably be like a contract signing and get physical. There's the very boring booking that they do with it.
Yeah, probably one of those. As I know, we mentioned it a few times. Hello, Jonesy. We'll give you another shout out. Mention the idea of this. Could you see it? Because Punk mentioned, "I took the wise man from you." Is there a chance Paul Heyman could end up in this again? could end up aligned with someone? Could he be aligned with a Punk, let's say, at the end of WrestleMania?
It's not very often Paul Heyman goes back. I don't know. I don't see the point of it now. We're past that phase. We're past the tribal chief phase. We're past like a Paul Heyman guy, CM Punk. I don't know. I don't really see it. I'd rather see Heyman doing stuff with other people. Like the whole reason they put him with Braun Breaker was to make him a Paul Heyman guy, and like I'd rather see that than. Don't get me wrong. I suppose in terms of story, possibly, but I wouldn't want to see it carry on past WrestleMania.
So here's my thought from it. Digesting it, tasting it, and saying it for face value right now. Obviously, Paul Heyman's with the Vision. So we have Logan Paul and Austin Theory, Ryback-Saw 2.0 right now in WWE. We have Brock Lesnar as well, who will be retiring later this year. But the Brock part of it's what makes me think it won't happen because we have Brock. But if I want to think of it in a hypothetical way, WrestleMania plays out and it's a 40-hour show because of the fact we've got so many matches being added to the card here. So how about we play a little bit of storytelling, a bit of fantasy booking time? Let's do some fantasy booking. So Logan Paul and Austin Theory lose respectively on night one of WrestleMania, whether it's Logan to Seth or they lose to the Usos. Logan Paul does double duty and loses both matches. I'm tired of you guys. You guys keep screwing up. You're not winning matches. There's masked people everywhere, and it's all your darn fault. You're fine. I can work with other people. The Vision, we need an optician. It's gone. We're blind over here. Go and find yourself somewhere else. Brock Lesnar, mystery opponent, all the big bells and whistles. Who's it going to be? There is a chance, actually. I think it could be Seth if they label off Logan and Austin Theory with the tag titles with the Usos. They could do Seth and Brock because it's the Paul Heyman guy that's legitimately big boss, if you want. But we've seen Seth versus Brock before. But let's say Brock, though, has Obafemi, has LA Knight, whoever they suggest for WrestleMania. It's Brock Lesnar's last WrestleMania. He should go out on his back here at WrestleMania. He loses. Paul Heyman, I shouldn't have gone back with you. You told me you were going to, you would come back. You destroyed Cena, but what have you done for me since? You got eliminated by the Rumble by LA Knight. You've lost it at WrestleMania to LA Knight. You've lost to whoever it was at WrestleMania. Obafemi is a new guy, for goodness sakes. You lost to him, kicked to the curb. I want nothing to do with you. The wise man is free. He's completely free. And saying that all happens in night one could be the thing. What's next for Paul Heyman? He's not with anyone. Or they all fired Paul Heyman because they all kept losing. So what does Heyman do? Goes back to the old guard. He's back with Roman or he's back with Punk. Maybe they could just be where they keep mentioning the mentions or whatever. Maybe Heyman just comes out in the main event and aligns himself with one or the other, and it becomes a story arc of the match.
It almost feels like it softens the Paul Heyman character. I think, like Paul Heyman's never been a guy that really kind of goes back on his decisions. Like he obviously will align himself with Brock Lesnar because let's be honest, Brock Lesnar, you always want to side with Brock Lesnar, and it's never like Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman really fell out. Although unless I'm remembering it wrongly, maybe he's probably like F5'd him somewhere or whatever. But yeah, I just feel like it's very rare that he goes back to someone in terms of creative, and like I just think it undermines the Paul Heyman character. I mean, like it's a possibility. Hell, why not have Paul Heyman come out with Obafemi as his mystery opponent at WrestleMania? Make Obafemi a Paul Heyman guy.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
For me, ultimately, I'm just as a final few words before we wrap things up today. He has gone back to people in the past. Obviously, he ditched Punk and he was back with Punk. He's ditched Brock a couple of times and has gone back with him. Roman, he was kicked out of the bloodline and he came back. So, I mean, I think Paul Heyman goes where he gets food. Whatever dinner places on his table, he'll go and eat. So I do think Heyman would go back. But I personally don't think it will happen just because of the fact that there is stuff aligned. But there is storytelling you can play out to make such thing happen, but I don't think it will happen. But I am interested in the Punk Roman storyline, and I'm interested to see where it goes further.
Yeah, it has the most intrigue about it.
Any final words before we wrap up today?
Nah, let's go for it, fella.
Let's go for it indeed. Well, thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. Just to say, if you can hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff. And after this week now, we should be simply just straight on with a lot of Q&As after this for the next few weeks because, yeah, I mean, I don't see why we can't really. It's WrestleMania, yeah. But for AEW fans, Revolution predictions are coming on the channel next week. Myself and Two Sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast will be giving you AEW Revolution predictions. So make sure to join us. We will be doing that on Tuesday. So make sure to join us for that. So it'll be before the Go Home Show Dynamite, before the big event. But thanks for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. We're going to probably look out for our retro for March as well. So look out for the poll for that this week. More shorts dropping as always. And we'll see you for the next one. We'll be back very soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.